Okay.
I think you can still share your screen on your end. I can probably just join from my phone and watch from my phone
Yeah,
if
yeah.
that was the case.
Yeah, I've already got the code in, so I'm also screen sharing as well. You should be able to see.
All right, yeah. Let me join from my phone. I transferred to my
Right, no worries, no
PC.
worries.
I mean
One
PS5.
player. Okay, so I guess like I want to know a little bit of just general context. About like your, again, about just your characters and your hero pools in general, but also what you maybe what things you think you struggle with in general. So of course, like you told me all the characters that you play. How do you split your playtime between all the tanks?
So if you say your question is how do I put my playtime on the tank?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I feel like what might make you understand me a little bit more is my first hero shooter was Paladins.
Right. Okay.
So and I was a very I had a duo I played with, and but I played off tank over there. So I played a lot of Makoa and like Khan and Atlas and Terminus, but I found a lot of value in Makoa who had a hook.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was more consistent on hitting my hooks and stuff. So when I came over to this game, like, I found a lot of love to Roadhog because he had a one shot potential, and I feel like I can just change the whole game when I'm hitting my hooks. But
Right. Right.
lately, I've been now that I'm hitting like top 500 and like higher ranks and stuff. I'm going against people who like I'm hooking people and they're getting bubbled, they're getting cleansed. Uh, if not, I'm going against very good tracer players who I'm going against really good tracer players. They end up like I end up start putting my target priority on them a little bit too much, and they're just burning my hook every single time.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like it gets a little bit too hard when I'm going against specific comps, you know. But so that's when I get off the Roadhog most of the time, and when they're just running counters and stuff like that, it makes it's like I'm forcing a tank that's not gonna work, you know. So I try to move on to like a little more flexible tanks. Like I'm trying to spend more time in like Hazard and stuff like that. Zarya, I like playing Zarya because she can has a lot more burst damage. You can't really shoot me all game because I go against a lot of DPS who are just shooting the tank all game. You know.
Right. Right. Makes sense. What do you play on the team as well at all?
I kind of I have no, I don't play on no teams, but I do
Okay.
have like friends out each time, so we squad up. One of my
Okay.
friends
Makes
the other
sense.
day, he kind of suggested me to you. I know he was coaching the other day.
Oh, right. Right. Yeah. I think we're mutual friends with them, so I think that's why. That's what I initially saw. But yeah, we'll see how this pans out here. I think the big thing. We'll talk about the matchup more specifically. I think the big thing
Hmm.
with Hog is, of course, hitting your hooks is important. But
Yeah,
even with Malga specifically, I've seen, and actually, there was a team that played Malga last year. Sorry, but I played Roadhog into Malga last year, and one of the things that they kind of mentioned or talked about to me was hugging Malga is actually not always beneficial because he kind of wants to be close up to you anyways. And he can
yeah,
actually burn you really, really close up. So of course you're playing Zen here, and you're playing characters that can burst down a Malga quickly. Especially if you're playing Ana in the sloppy, which I doubt you're never gonna. You're always gonna ban Ana when you're playing Hog, anyways. But I think
yeah. I'm
the
trying to ban on a lot. Yeah.
right.
Well, are you by any chance playing anything? I see the watch stream, but it's not really letting me like zoom into it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see the epic pen that I'm drawing on screen. Stuff like that. Um,
You no, I can't see.
let me
Yeah,
just let me just redo the screenshot here. Okay, the entire screen.
yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm hoping the right VOD too because I think I wanted to manga this game, but my team was helping me burn it a little bit. So
Right. I think the key things with Malga is again poke him out in the pre-fight. So I'll literally list out like I'll use this wall here to talk about things that you can do. So poke out armor specifically in the pre-fight. Malga becomes a lot more squishier when he hasn't got any armor to use, and it's a lot harder for him to go in with overrun. Second thing
yeah.
I'll say is, if you're gonna
Are you
hook
sharing
him,
your screen?
yeah, I should be sharing my screen here.
Let me leave the call and join it back.
No worries. Yeah.
And that's the issue. Should reset it.
Alright, are you able to see the stream at all?
Yep, I see the
Great,
you
great.
drawings.
Yeah, great. So the first thing was to poke out armor. The second thing is, if you're gonna hook him, he needs to be fairly killable. Which links into the fact that he might not have any armor. But if you're seeing, again, maybe your Zen and makes a call, or the Malgo's really low, or he's half HP, or you track that he hasn't got his cardiac overdrive, then hooking him becomes a lot more reasonable. And the third thing is actually out rotating the Malga. Or essentially what I mean by that is taking different angles around him or making it really hard and laborious for the Malga to come at you. And I speak about this all the time. I call it risk baiting. Basically, what that means is you're baiting the enemy Malga to make a risky move onto you if he wants to come and clear you out. And because, of course, you generally have more threat than Malga in the early fights, it's something that, again, you might need to consider. And he could very end up feeding, you could very easily end up feeding if he wants to stomp onto you, and it's actually a very dangerous stomp for him to do. So those are the kind of things I'm looking out for, especially if you're queuing with a Lucio too, which again often you might be stacking with some friends. Then again,
the Lucio's who I've been playing with.
Yeah, you can essentially out rotate and move past them, so it should be fairly easy to do. But we'll see how this game pans out. And yeah, we'll see. Okay.
I feel like I do like Hog is my best tank.
Yeah, I
this is what.
Yeah, go on.
No, you can go. You can go.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if you do at least some of those things, if not all of those things, at least to some extent. But yeah, we'll see how this pans out. Okay, turn this overlay off. Okay, cool. All right, basic soldier, Cassidy, hook. There's fine hook there. You miss it, right? But I think it's a more than reasonable hook. He's out in open space. You place down the pig pen.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the hook. Nothing crazy. Get a kill anyways.
Yeah, he was out of position there. I just wanted to confirm a little
Yeah,
more.
that's more than fine, yeah. Okay, deeping him out of there, that's good. Fine. Okay. Yeah, nice. And that's kind of what I meant by, like, if this guy, if he wants to punish you, which he kind of needs to do because he's a man down, he needs to make a really bad and risky stomp like this. So he should at least die, at least soon. If not, get very low, and he's already, popping his overdrive. He's 1 HP, so as long as you can lift this, which you should be able to, nothing crazy.
That's why I hooked him right there, because sometimes when I see him popping his cardiac ability, like I know it resets him, so I still burst him before he heals.
Yeah, I think as well because something that that with Malga that is specific as well is he of course gains HP back proportional to how much damage he does, but of course he does this damage to you while you're healing up because of the damage resistance. So it might be worth actually just healing up and even body blocking, maybe even the healing it too, to a lesser extent. To make sure
in a situation where I can heal because he has Malga does a lot of damage.
Yeah, no, I would heal up here basically for 2 reasons, right? Not just for the damage itself, because that's important, but also because he gets less healing from your body, because he's doing less damage to you. So that's relatively easier for your team to kill him. But it's the same thing with playing Malga into Ramatra. It's not worth shooting a Ramatra that's blocking because you're not getting HP off of him. So doing this is fine. Sure. Fine. Nice. Fine. Yeah, nice. Reasonable hook. Nothing crazy to the fight. You got an early pick, you punish Malga, you live through his overdrive. Nothing insane. Okay. Okay. Place on the Cassidy. Nice. Alright, we'll speed it up to the next fight and see what happens. Already I like what you're playing. Okay. 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 Sure. So small thing here. Why didn't you place down a pig pen on this corner when you're playing here?
See, I was thinking I was gonna do that too, like just now. Like I'm probably gonna throw a pigman right here, go for a hook, because right there, like the info. The reason why I went up there is just to get info. And a lot of more players they like to TP.
Right.
This off spawn, and I called out her TP there. My soldier like memed her.
Right,
So
right.
I mean I could pick one in there for sure.
I don't think you're in the wrong mindset to leave the Tygon immediately. Again, you're not. Your team isn't
Yeah,
playing here. It's only your Lucio, and I don't. And this
yeah,
is
that's
one of
wild.
those.
Yeah,
Right, right. And I think this is one of those cases where hooking Malga is not going to be beneficial to you because he's just going to
yep,
burn you, and you're not going to do much out of the value. But I think placing a Pigpen here at least and looking on fishing for a kill across this long sight line, trying to hook someone that isn't Malga is at least guaranteed value. And if not, if you get the Moira who's going to be forced to fade over here anyways, yes, it's going to be a
yeah,
free kill. At the very least, let's say you missed the hook, you're still going to get some value out of Pigpen anyways. So yeah, I would still just put it here, even if they're going to run over you, because you at least trigger it at least. But yeah, looking for a kill it would have been nice. We'll see where you
yeah.
move to afterwards. Okay. Okay. It triggers overrun, drops down, more than reasonable. We'll talk about what you can move to in a second. Yeah, okay, so where can you maybe move to the second you drop off the high ground?
From this position,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe towards like the right side stairs, closer to the mega,
Yeah,
or this
right,
wall
so
grenade.
I think potentially like maybe in this little room here and making it very hard for the enemy team to actually come and shoot you. And again, I like describing these spaces as aggressive but safe spaces. Malgo has already used his overrun ability, so he has to come and it's gonna be again risky and long for him to come and chase you. And also,
Yeah,
no one on the enemy team really wants to go near you. Like if you stay on this space here, this soldier who's shooting you right now, he's not going to come and shoot you from this low gun here, essentially. You can essentially control this entire space, flank underneath, and again, walk around the Malga. And when we talk about that third point that I brought up a little bit earlier, about out-rotating, this would be one of those cases. Especially if you're playing with a stack of friends, you could just say, again, can we move around the Malga, come with me, Lucio, flank with me, play underneath, something like that that tells your Lucio, that's like, hey, let's play underneath, or hey, I want to move around the Malga, because he hasn't got overrun anymore. So a bit unfortunate that you give up the space underneath the high ground, because honestly, I really don't think you need to. I think you can just kind of stay here, maybe even go even deeper and flank around, and then maybe even look for a hook onto the enemy. A soldier if you see an opportunity. But yeah, I think flanking around here, going back to the backside could be nice. And yeah, you'd move around the Malga, and it's very hard for him to come and clear you. But yeah,
all right.
okay. Soldier gets a free kill on
So you
Moira,
do it.
so starts. Okay. Okay. And now, right, like now your team's getting 3 kills here, right? They're both the supports are now dead, right? But in theory, you can see how hard this would be because now you're playing like a very front to back kind of matchup into Malga, like you're just matching him head on. And this is kind of what he wants. Like he wants to be able to sort of burn you close up. So yeah, it's not ideal. He's also got cover on cart here too. And again, I think in this sort of direct head on matchup, Malga kind of wins this. Fortunately,
Okay.
again, his team's dead here, right? So his supports are dead.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be easier for you to clear him out, right? But yeah, something to think about in the future, especially when we get into some of these later fights that might get a little bit harder for you to play around. But that's fine. Again, he's got no support, so it's fine to do. Sure. Fine. Okay. Sure, and I'm pushing up to try and get kills. Fine. Cash should be dead. Ace kind of feeding.
yeah, he
Nice.
is.
Okay. Of course, you can keep. I'll honestly just either keep your whole up the cage or just look for an opportunity to get a kill with it, maybe like an environmental kill.
Yep.
We'll put it in the corner. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, where could you maybe flank to? You almost did it.
You said what?
Where could you maybe flank to? You almost did the flank.
That's to their high ground, right?
Yeah, right. So like literally just going through this entire room, placing your pick pen down, and then looking for a hook opportunity. It's a very similar thing that we saw a little bit over here. So yeah, a little bit of stuff with Prefight positioning. I guess my question here is, what stops you from taking this flank here?
Honestly, just I don't want to get punished for poor position sometimes, or just
Mm,
sometimes like I'm just not used to I don't always play with somebody, so I'm not used to like my supports playing with me. Or like,
Right,
let's say
right.
for example, like if I did walk up in there, like the manga just slams me in there. Like they have a Cassidy and Soldier where it's just do mad burst damage. They can just fan the hammer and
Right,
it's like
right. I
almost
think,
half my HP.
yeah, I think in this case, after you kill the Cassidy, is it more reasonable to take this flank?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think even if, let's say, worst case scenario, you come through here, you miss the hook, the Malga sees you, he stomps on top of you. I still don't think he's gonna kill you, especially when he hasn't got Cassidy on his team. So yeah, I still think that's 100% something that's worth at least doing. And that's again worst case
Alright.
scenario, right? There's not even considering the case that hey, maybe he misses the stomp, or hey, I actually get a hook kill, or hey, I can actually live this very reasonably because I can just breathe myself out and I'm fairly okay, or something along those lines. So I think absolutely after you kill the Cassidy, it should 100% should be something that's on your radar. Maybe if you don't kill Cassidy and maybe he's just alive or whatever, maybe it's fine just chilling out for a little bit. Maybe then again, maybe you can play this longer start line here, where again it's harder for Malga to come and reach you because it's a little bit further away. So again, that could be quite nice to do. Or hey, maybe again you could go even deeper and go for a deeper angle here and flank all the way around. And that's something else you could potentially do here as well. Is deepen your angle. And again, if you were playing with a Lucio, or had you again played with a Lucio with speed boost, again that's a nice call you can make too as well. To say come with me Lucio or whatever the case may be, to flank around here. So in other words, these flanks here again depend on the status of the fight. So this flank here is completely fine to do when you're one man up. You don't need to flank that deep. This flank here in blue is nice to do if you're again the Cassidy's alive or you've got time to flank, and I think you do have time to flank right now. Or again this flank could be nice as well, this direction. If you want a longer sight line and you want to bait the Malga to come at you, which considering you've got Roadhog, I think this is fine to do. Yeah, all three options are viable depending on the slight variance of situation. You'll see
Yeah.
here. Okay. I don't fully mind the pick pen. Someone's gonna come over here anyways, so I think it's fine to set up here. With the cap, nice. Okay. Pumping in. Sure. Fine. Okay. Like, notice how that entire fight, you don't actually do much, right? If I back it up here a little bit, you can kind of see you set up to the left side here, which is nice, right? Why do you go right side to match the Malga?
I just I noticed I have my Soldier and my Kiri over there, so I'm like I need a peel, and he does slam on my Soldier. I can like just hook him, so my Soldier doesn't get all like the burst damage.
Right, right. Thing is, even if you do all of that, who's gonna be at the advantage? You or the Malga?
The Malga probably
Mostly,
because
probably the Malga, right?
yeah,
Unless again he's like completely feeding, like we saw first fight, but he's probably gonna be at the advantage. It's kind of what he wants to do, right? Like again, if you look at this from top down, and we're saying, okay, what if these three people, if the not even three people, just the Malga Kiri and the Malga Kiri and Moira, if they run over you, i.e. a Roadhog, Kiri and Soldier, it's on paper gonna favor the Malga comp. And that's kind of what I'm looking. That's kind of what I'm looking against right now, because you can very clearly move away from him and take this angle here. And like, when we talk about, I guess, relieving pressure off your team from the Malga and quote unquote peeling the Malga, the best thing you can do is trade off kills and make it extremely hard for this Malga to sustain by again getting a pick onto his Kiriko or getting a pick onto his Moira. He just can't sustain, or he can't go in all the time if there's a Roadhog flanking around and shooting and destroying his team. So I think this decision here to go back to the right side is detrimental to you and your team, and you can kind of see why, because you don't do much this fight. You don't hit a good kill. You don't put your position. You don't put yourself in a position to get a good hook kill. I also the character isn't built for peeling from Malga anyways. I don't even think I can think of a character like maybe Sigma. Like if you're playing Sigma here, you can shoot off the high ground and rock the Malga and then grasp him as well. Maybe that's fine to do. But even then on Sigma, I might be saying going through here might become a little bit more reasonable to try and look for again kills into the enemy team and of course you can double back and then shoot the enemy Malga. But yeah, Diva or Sigma is where this becomes a little bit more reasonable to do. But Roadhog, no, you do not. Your character isn't built for peeling, especially into Malga comps. So yeah, so yeah, it's not very hard for you to do anything else. Okay, time to run away. Yeah, it's a little bit slow though on the breather walking outwards there. Nothing crazy.
Nice.
A little bit slow on the breather, but yeah.
I remember that game too. I was like, man.
Yeah,
I
it's a bit
could've saved
unfortunate you
myself.
died there, yeah. Okay, we'll see here. Build up a little bit. Okay. Alrighty. Should be a fight in your favor based on ultimates.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
Alright. Let me see. Is your team playing with you? Let me see. Put overlay. Oh, not even overlay. Let me just go top down. Yeah, okay, so if we go player here. Yeah, right. So I think. Do you think it's reasonable to hook the enemy Malga here?
I want him to use his cardiac most of the time before
Right, right. Which I think is reasonable to do. I think again, it's more of a team thing that might impact how you want to approach this matchup here. It's kind of two things that I'm seeing, right? So you can force overdrive by having your Cass, your Kiri, your Soldier, something like that. Take an angle like this, and then you poke from this angle. It's gonna be very easy to poke this guy's armor off. Very easy or most of the time. And then of course you're gonna force cardiac overdrive, and then you can get a free hook. So yeah, I think it's kind of a big question, right? I don't think hooking this is gonna make much sense. He's probably gonna live here anyways. He's also got full armor too, so again, he gets even more sustained from that. So I wouldn't probably hook him. What's potentially something you might think about, or how do I phrase the question here? Where might you think about moving to?
in this situation.
Yeah, in this situation.
Honestly, I'll probably just walk back and let them push the bot a little bit.
Yeah, I like that a lot, right? I think again this relates back to that risk baiting idea. We're playing back in this corner, or playing back over here, maybe to a lesser extent, playing back here. All those positions make it harder for the Malga to come and reach you, while still having threats onto the enemy squishies, so they can't really walk up that heavily. So I think that's a nice sort of suggestion there in terms of what you want to do. I think this corner here plays a part in that too, again, because you can threaten here and flank like this. So a little bit more distance, a little bit more baity, and a little bit more threatening onto these characters here. So we'll see what pans out, and we'll see what happens here. What I don't want to see is you turn this corner here against the Malga and get absolutely shredded. But we'll see. Okay, everything gets destroyed. It's onto you. Nice, nice, right? I actually quite like this a lot. You pretty much do exactly what I sort of called out for here. What might be the only issue with this fight of how you approach it? So I think the positioning is great. What do you think about the hook?
Probably a bad hook. Probably could turn around and hook somebody else because I was in a beat.
Right, right. So
but
I
I was
think,
like, I think I pop whole hog right after this.
yeah, right. I think at the very least, once you get to this location around about here, at the very least, look to see if you can actually hook a squishy, right? If you can't, then if Malga's the only option you can hook, fine. I think that's okay, right? It's whatever. But because the squishy's on this angle here, like literally a half HP Soldier, as well as a 225 Kiriko and a 225 Moira, I think it's more than reasonable to be able to try and look for these kills, right? I think this also plays a factor into why your pick pen got destroyed here, right? I think if I look back a little bit here, way back, right over here, and I look at your pick pen, you saw Malga peek out there for a split seconds, right? Why is this pick pen not ideal?
Is he gonna shoot it?
Right, so when is the only acceptable case for this pick pen to be placed? When is this pick pen fine?
Like more behind the wall.
Behind the wall, right? What else?
Yeah.
When will this pick pen, let's say in this situation right now, when is it only going to get value?
when they're gonna like walk over it.
Right, so either when they walk over it or when you hook the Malga. But of course, as we kind of talked about,
Yeah.
you're not going to hook the Malga anyways. It's not beneficial for your character. So don't place the Pigpen here. Otherwise, again, it's just going to get destroyed. So of course, there's some tiny bit of micro, like you can put it into the corner a little bit deeper. I really think that's nitpicking. I don't think that's a big concern. My concern really is why you place Pigpen here to begin with. Because if you're never gonna hook here to begin with, why place Pigpen? Because it's just gonna get destroyed as it kind of does, right? And that plays into that
Yeah.
plays a small part, right, into kind of why you don't flank. Because let's say right now you still had Pigpen, but you still kept it, right? You can very easily walk here, place a Pigpen, and that Kiri right there is a free kill, like a free kill into the Kiriko.
Probably why I didn't decide to do it, because normally I would do something like that.
Right. And I think the Pigpen plays a small part in that, in terms of A, why you don't sort of take that flank to begin with, but also B, your actual lethality on the flank itself, because of course, it's hard to get one-shots when you haven't got a Pigpen to drag someone through. But yeah. So small, again, mindset there with what you're thinking about in the pre-fight, and then again, a small rotation that you could have made. It's not like hooking Malga is a bad thing to do. Again, you're gonna get some value out of this, and you are playing a good position here anyways, so... Oh, teleport hook! Yeah, there we go. As you can see, forcing to... You have to use for all your ultimates, like literally every single ultimate right here, just to kill a single Malga, you know? And they only use Coalescence here, you know? And it's like, sure, you killed Malga for it, right? But you didn't need to use Horror for it, and you very easily could have flanked through here, gotten very similar value at a much lower cost, without needing to use Roadhog. Because now, next fight, is looking cooked. To put it lightly.
No, yeah.
Yeah, you even get traded here as well, but yeah, using 5 ultimates for 2, not great. And now usually, this is where I say one of two things. Whenever you're at a big ult disadvantage here, and I think I even told this to Rabbit too a few days ago, was whenever you see yourself having this big disadvantage here, you need to make some kind of big chaotic flank play. Because if you take this fight normally, like if you take this fight front to back, and you take this fight as normal, what's gonna happen?
We're not gonna win it. Not gonna lie.
You're not gonna win it, right? He's gonna cage you, and you've got 0 response to getting caged. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kitsune Rush 2. So the only way you can actually win this fight is by doing something crazy. You need to go on some big ass flank. You need to play around the Malga. You kind of almost, I think it's a bit too crude to say this, but I think you kind of need to play like a tracer in terms of what you need to be doing about this fight. I don't think you're aware that he's got. I mean, maybe you are aware that he's got a cage, right? But I think the second that you're aware that you've got no answer to his cage, I think that's the time for you to like stop flanking around. Because what I don't want to see here is you stand on the bots, you get caged, and you're going to die. But yeah, we'll see. I think that's also part of the reason too, right? I think whenever you are stacking with friends or whenever you are playing the game, it's adapting your playstyle depending on, in this case, their ultimates, but just generally, right, about what they want to be doing and adapting your playstyle around that. And that's a big skill that differentiates, again, good players from great players. We'll see here. Okay. Pumped away, right? Yeah, so you're kind of forced to push the bot here the entire time, which I honestly, I don't fully blame you for. But I think the second here, again, I think that mindset about keeping on a flank, I would just push the bot here slightly, be hyper aware of where the Malga's playing, and again, keep this bit. I wouldn't even push it all the way in here necessarily. I think it's playing a little bit further back, again, sort of baiting the Malga to come at you, and then flanking around him is really effective. So literally, roundabouts. Yeah, get the push. Fine. I think getting stopped there is a bit unlucky, right? Maybe going through the room here and going through the room here initially might help you out a little bit. But here, I would fine. Sure, I'll get away from this as much as I can. Right? Honestly, I'll just walk forward here, place a Pigpen down, and try and hook one of these 2 targets. Get away from that Malga because you're gonna get caged and die. We'll see. Okay. Kitsune instead. Sights. Yeah, right, and you can see, even though he hasn't even used cage yet, and you still, it's still an incredibly hard fight to win. So yeah, bit unfortunate. Stomp there. Probably gonna die there. Yeah, right, so I think that comes into one or two things. I think one or two things. So the first thing is flanking here a little bit earlier on, and getting away from Cart a little bit earlier, and or actually hooking the cast Kiri or the cast and the soldier the second that you see them. Again, another missed opportunity there, linking into some of the last fights that we've seen. But yeah, okay, we'll see here. All right, still Malgus got cage, and that's still very scary. Okay, sure. Malgus on high ground here. I think because Malgus playing by himself here, I'm actually fine with you pushing him. I don't actually mind this too much. Sure. Fine. Fine. Yeah, like, he's feeding here. He's feeding, so I don't mind that. Where could you maybe move to after you kill the enemy Malga? Like right now.
I would just try to get to their backline or start control bot.
Yeah, no, I like that, right? I think going left side here, right, could be a nice opportunity. Again, you've got like a buffet of options here, right? You've got the Moira on this angle, and you've got the soldier here too, right? So a slight, again, rotation that you could have missed. Or could have done. Okay. Fine. Sure. Moira has to leave. Yeah, nice. Fine. Sure. Sure, fine so far. I'm gonna just be wary that Malgo's gonna come back. Nice Sniper kill. Sure. Okay. Where could you maybe move to?
Maybe more to the right, closer to Mega, maybe.
Yeah, not exactly what I was thinking, but I think that could maybe work, right? I think maybe around here, or maybe around here, and then again you can flank through here, right? And then to go up the stairs here and try and look for an angle here. Not exactly what I thought, but I think that could be an option to you. What's the other option that you might have, or the other side to this that you might have?
Poke out left side.
Yeah, right. So maybe coming through here, and then what I thought you were gonna do, like we're back over here. Right, go back to your POV. Alright. Like the second that you saw him stomp, like around about literally in this little slit here, I thought you were gonna like flank through here and then try and again play around him, or like just try and deepen your angle and avoid the Malga as much as you can. Again, I don't fully mind you like matching him straight on because you are a man up. But again, it's a habit that we're seeing a lot of the time, where pre-fight and even mid-fight, your positioning isn't conducive to how you want to approach this matchup all the time. I think you are good at baiting though, I will say. Keeping distances is something that I think you're fairly good at. But yeah, like here you're immediately wary of the Malga, which is good. Yeah, I think you don't exactly know where to move to. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm not a nice kind of walking forward. Okay, you lose, just gets a kill. Yeah, so I think you get 2 kills, right? You kill the Cassidy, and then now you kill the Kiriko, so you're allowed to walk here. But yeah, I think in future fights, if you find it very hard to push this choke or to push this area, then yeah, I would absolutely flank through here or flank through here, and maybe even going a little bit deeper if you can. But yeah, if you have even more time, one thing you can maybe do here as well is go all the way around. So if you're playing with a Genji at all, your Genji can stake arts, and then you can flank all the way around and go behind. That's something you can do as well. Of course, in this comp you're running double hit scans, so less reasonable to do. Something worth mentioning. Okay. Fine. Nice. Sure. Fine. Okay. Sure, good flank. I like this. Defense fine. Why don't you... This is interesting, right? So, again, I like this flank. You see the Moira, right? Why not go for her?
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw the soldier was low, and he was walking on my back line, like on a flank. So I was like, I'm not trying to really, like we're up, we're down, they're down to Maga, Cassidy. to support one DPS. I'm like, if I can just go catch that DPS out of
Yeah,
position.
no, yeah. 'Cause I think that's quite smart. I think the fact that the two biggest characters that can affect how you play this and affect how aggressive you can play are dead. So I don't have too much of an issue with you walking forward here. It's not too dangerous. I think this is fine to do. My concern though is you got a much more killable target right in front of you. Or you can get again immediate value right here. Soldier, he can move around you, he can sprint around you, he can out-rotate you. He's too mobile to sort of reach. But right here, you can just stab the Moira, force fade, and then hook her afterwards. Or you can force fade, and then hook the Kiriko, and then basically a free kill, right? So I think either one of these options here, I would have absolutely gone for. And again, you could even go a step further, right? You could even just walk forward into these characters. And again, because there's not a Malgo cast on the field, who cares if you're gonna get shot off by a Moira or shot by a Kiriko? No one really cares.
I think the soldier even ran away from this too.
Yeah, right. Like you just can't reach him. So I think that's kind of the big thing here. Is that it maybe if you're playing to like a Zen maybe or like a less mobile character, then sure I could see this working out. But yeah, because you're playing to a soldier, it's less reasonable to do.
Yeah.
Or slightly odd rotation there. And even here right now, right? Like, even when you're here, why go all the way backwards here? Right? Why not control this angle here? Because you know that when he walks into this room, there's only one exit, which is this area, right? And also, let's say, forget the soldier for a moment, right? Let's say you jump on this car, go over here. You still have the Morikiri right here. You know, just place a pick pen down again, get a hook. Why not, right? So, again, slight odd rotation. Again, we're seeing tons of times where you're missing these moments in between fights to get pivotal, vital kills. And again, I think if you're this Malgo, right, if you see the soldier die, if you see your Moira die, you're gonna get pissed, because you're not gonna get a clean reset in time. So I guess my question here is, why don't you take this angle again?
Nah, yeah, I should have.
I think maybe you're too scared, or maybe you just don't consider it, so maybe you forget about it, right? Yeah, definitely a missed opportunity here for sure. If anything, I'd say your gameplay is a little bit too passive, if anything, because I haven't really seen you feed into Hog. Also, you feed into Malga. You haven't really died to him entirely. I think some of the fights here, you kind of played in autopilots, like again, the fights where you have a big ult disadvantage, you've kind of just autopiloted and just played into the enemy team comp and not done much. Barring that, you haven't really fed into Malga. I think the key things are you're not pushing your advantages when you can, and in early fights you're not looking for opportunities when you can, especially when you're down ultimates, when you're you're down an advantage, or you kind of need to make a heavy flank play. We'll see here. Okay. Of course now you've got Roadhog, so you can hog the cage, that's fine. Right. Sure. I think that's fine to do if you're anticipating them, running over you, which is fine. Hawk here is fine. I don't. This ultimate's okay. You can kill the bugger for this. Cut him out. That's fine. I don't really mind that. Nice kill. Nice. Nothing crazy. Quick pen's nice. Nice hook. Nice. Nice. And they waste coalescence here too. Beat's a little bit questionable, but whatever. Force fade. Nice. Walk forward. Nice hook. Nice. Fine. Run away. Sure. Oh, okay, so maybe a little bit too aggressive there, right? So I think after you get that Kiriko kill, you kind of get a little bit tunneled, and you kind of walk into the Cassidy here, instead of, again, walking straight backwards. I think that literally that perk kind of saves you, that extra healing on Pigpen kind of saves you here.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's why I play like that sometimes, because of that perk.
Right. I think I wouldn't thread the needle a little bit too far, because you just haven't got any clear escape here, because it's a long ass walk back from here, from point A to point B, right? So I would just literally the second that you see the Malcolm walk onto you, especially when he's got the overrun perk too, I would just immediately run it back, for sure. But yeah, there's other angles that you can maybe play to here as well, but neither of these angles, like you can maybe go from point A, point B, over here, or to here, right? or maybe over here. But I think these angles, I wouldn't really consider any of these because you can get cleared out very easily anyways. They're not really, again, baiting the Malga because you can get cleared from those angles very easily. So this looks fine to me so far. Okay, yeah, just play to live, play to live. Okay, nice. I don't mind that. I think I actually like that play a lot. You just sort of play really slow, and then you kind of, again, you bait the soldier coming into you. So I don't really mind that play here at all. Okay. Sure. Where can you move again? So after you missed the hook here, right? Where can you maybe move to?
Probably can walk up those stairs.
Right. So is this dangerous actually? Playing here?
Not really.
Not really, right? You're LOSing Malga. Nobody is here. Literally nobody's right here. And of course you can D-pick into this room over here if you feel like you need to anyways. And if you're there Malga, right? If you see a hog playing here, you have two options, right? You either leave the carts and then stomp onto the hog, which is fine to do anyways. You'll get peeled by the Kiriko. You get a pencil onto the enemy Malga. You can run away too, right? It becomes very laborious, and again, it's not easy for the Malga to come and kill you out. Or you stand carts, and then of course, if you're playing Malga and you just push the cart here, right? You have this free angle here to play as hog. You can stay here as hog and threaten this angle the entire time. And Malga can't do anything about it because he's standing on carts. So it's a catch-22 for the enemy Malga. It's kind of what I'm saying here. So I guess my question becomes, why not move here, deep into the room, or deeper on this angle here?
I think it's because they're moving bot, and I just feel like I won't have too much follow up from my team.
But I think you're whenever I've kind of asked you why you don't take a certain position, often your responses are team related, or like again, I remember the second fight or the third fight, it was like, oh, why didn't you take this angle, or why didn't you flank? And I think it was down to, oh yeah, I need to peel for my team. And here again, it's kind of like, oh, I feel like if I don't push bot or I let them push bot here, my team might not get, my team might get pushed out, or I feel like my team might not be playing with me. I think the reality is that you're kind of a one-man army anyways. I think you're kind of fine to play this angle. And there are some flanks or there's some angles that you can play that are completely safe regardless of whether your team are with you or not. I think, again, this is certainly one of them. I think you don't need a Kiriko to be here with you to get threatening value onto this soldier and to be in a very safe location against the enemy Malga. And I think even more so, I think once you realize, hey, that he's pushing carts, that's a great opportunity. He's not going to beat onto you. This Malga isn't going to give a shit about you if he's pushing cart here. That's a great opportunity to push this angle here and look for a kill. And again, you can tank the aggro from a soldier and a Cassidy. A single soldier and a single Cassidy, they're not that threatening to you anyways. So yeah, absolutely, it's like these short winners of time where you can be aggressive, and aggressive but safe is again a good example right over here. Where again you're very aggressive, but also I think you're pretty safe too, all in all. Again, had you done that, I think you can keep your position here. I mean, that Cassidy just gets cooked, absolutely. He gets absolutely cooked. He walks into your pick pen here too. And yeah, that would have been great to do. And you get a free kill into the Cassidy for sure.
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. Alright. Playing the Zen now. Alright. Okay. Okay. I don't hate that hook. It's an okay hook to make, right? But it's like, you see how hard this is to push? There's a Zen Malga spamming you from this sort of distance here. You're going to die. Or you're going to get spammed out very easily, right? So, again,
Yeah.
once you get to here, right? Like here, right? Where should you be moving to? Or think about moving to?
Probably backing up, kiting, low key.
Sure, maybe, right? Do you need to cut this?
I know. I think the manga. I think I knew in this game he had cage this whole game and he hasn't used it.
Right.
So I was just being mindful of the cage because there's no way like he doesn't have cage, so he just wasn't. He just wasn't using it. So I was being mindful of it. That's probably why I was playing very passive this game.
Right. And I think as well, like I don't even fully mind that, right? I think you can play potentially slow on this like corner here, maybe this corner here, make it risky and bait them out to cage you. Again, you're good at baiting. I think that's fine to do, but I think my thing is like I look at that comp, I look at the Zen double hit scan, and I'm like, I don't want to be playing this starting line against the Zen, you know? I think it's fine to do if you can play out of LOS from it. But yeah, I'm looking at this long start line, I'm like, you know, I really don't want you to play it. Like, this looks too scary to me. And I think the flank here I would think about doing at least is thinking about flanking through here and threatening the angle. So maybe letting the Malga walk forward here a little bit, like make him walk to this corner, flank through here, and try and look for a kill or hook kill onto the Zen, the Soldier, or to their Cassidy. Would be quite nice. So either of those options are fine. You can bait the enemy Malga to come onto you, or you can flank through here, play out of LOS from Zen and Malga, and play again outrotate the Malga and look for a hook kill. We'll see what happens here. This kind of initially looks scary to me. Like you can't even peek this. Like you place Pigpen down, right? But you can't even peek this because it's just too dangerous. Right, similar to what I mentioned before and about Pigpen. If you're gonna place it down, you better hook. Or you better be planning to hook. Yeah, just get some value. Okay. Okay. Alright. And Pigpen not ideal there, not great. Okay. The cash the Malga just gets forced out there immediately. Sure. Unfortunate hook. Go anyways. Nice melee. Okay, sure. Right, I think Malga gets forced out. You're allowed to walk up because of it, and you get 2 kills due to it. So I think that's relatively fine. Okay. Sure. You bait well there. Ooh. Yeah, so you just don't know whether, and yeah, you don't know exactly where the enemy Zen here is at right now. I guess my question here is like, yeah, go on.
I didn't know they were the Zen.
Yeah, right. So we can chalk that down to a scouting issue there. I think by proxy, I think that maybe is an argument that hey, probably should have known that because I killed both the Lucio and Cassidy. Soldier I just saw right now, and I think I can tell by proxy, hey, maybe there's a Malga here, maybe he's with a Zen, right? Maybe even Zen's playing into this room here to the right side here too, right? So maybe again a little bit of object permanence there goes a long way. But I'm not gonna cry about it too much. I think my only qualm here is, hey, I can maybe deepen my angle by flanking through here, or hey, I can actually push the Soldier here because the Lucio Cassidy are now dead. I can push the Soldier here potentially and threaten the kill. Because of course, matching to a Malga Zen, not your ideal matchup. But yeah. Okay. Slightly unfortunate that. Okay.
Yeah.
Next fight's gonna be hard to win because again, Malga still has cage and they've got trans. But we'll see. Okay. Up a little bit. Okay. Alright. Okay. Again, that's like the Pigpen is like I don't hate it. It's just I think it's so unlikely to get a hook kill off of this. Right? It's very similar to what we saw back over here. On the fire a little bit earlier. It's giving me that kind of same vibe. So yeah. Okay, you just run through it anyways. Sure, why not? Fine. Build yourself up. Good. Sure, nice. I think a lot of the Malgas that we've seen have not been very competent. To be honest, I don't really expect that in console, in Masters, to be honest. But I also play Malga myself, and I'm just seeing the Malga just run into you. So it's kind of giving you free value, but it's what it is.
Nah, yeah.
I mean, the fact that it's been, what, 8 minutes and he still hasn't used cage is insane. But yeah.
Nah, yeah, it's been 8 minutes, it has you caged.
Yeah, not even caged. Okay, we'll see here. I like this rotation, I like pushing up here. Again, personally, I would push through here instead, again, just because it's just, I mean, it's just easy to get a kill here. But nothing crazy. Okay, we'll see here. And I think it's fine to again play passive here because of the cage. Okay, get ready to run away. Because you're gonna need to. Okay, maybe just giving you all the space, that's fine here too. Okay, sure. I think that's perfectly fine, right? Now, I think breaking the cage here is okay. Are you actually at much danger when you're caged?
Not really.
Not really. Why not really?
Sometimes he's just doing solo cages.
Right. I think
And
actually,
that's
the,
my follow-up.
yeah, I think the Malgo himself has actually trapped himself in his own cage, which I think is actually sometimes against bad Malgos, their cage will work against them. And I think in this case, that's a perfect example, right? You've got this big ass wall here, this wall here, right? That sort of protects you from the enemy DPS or from the enemy team. So I think you can really just play in this sort of cubby hole, literally right here, and then even hook the Malgo right into you. And there's not really much Malga can do, or not really much the enemy team can do, because of course, if you hook Malga, these two characters can just shoot him in the back. And again, these guys can also just LOS him too because of the cover hit too. So I don't even think hogging this is fully necessary. I guess it's not a bad play. It's not really a mistake here. But I think you bargain this, or you don't bite off here as much as you can shoot, I think. I think again you can definitely hook this guy and burn him entirely. Nice. I think the whole hog is maybe a little bit questionable. Because again, you don't need to hog it necessarily. Alright, I think again, literally stand here, poke him out, hook him into your team, heal up if you need to, and then if you get really low, then of course I think that's when again, maybe you can hog, or maybe again, if you feel like you're taking a little bit too much aggression, then hog becomes a lot more useful. Even like right now on this frame, like how do you stay alive? Hog here would be great to finish off the enemy Malga. But yeah. Okay, tanks get traded. Beat comes out, or not even beat, just amp there. Okay, we'll see here. Do you pop breather here? Yeah, at least pop. I know you've got the speed perk here. Just pop a little bit of breather out of spawn. Nothing crazy. But it's a small thing. Just again, get back a little bit quicker. Okay. Gas gets traded. Short and the kill. Not a great pig fan. He can run away from you. Okay. Now he's used cage at least, so frees up your positioning a little bit more. Okay. And this is kind of what I meant a little bit before, and about just like, sure, you guys as a team, in theory, you can play slow here against a heavy poke comp like this. It's just, again, it's not. I'd rather you be proactive with your games and not just, again, AFK and wait for them to sort of walk into you. But yeah. Okay, we'll see here. Alright. Can't have him to walk away, yeah. On the back foot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Constantly at the back foot the entire time. Can't flank around because of sights, obviously. Yeah, your team are getting heavily staggered here. You need to flank, flank left, good. I mean, I get why you hear Widowmaker, right? I think some of the time that I've seen you play Hog, you've sort of had these like really odd positional commitments, like literally right here. I think it's fine to look at the Widow, right? Look below you and see if you can catch Widowmaker. But to me, this looks very similar to what we saw against the Soldier a little bit earlier, like back over here, where like you commit straight onto the Soldier, but you can't really walk onto the Soldier. And it's a similar thing right here, where I think because you can't see Widowmaker, don't even bother with this, because now this looks a bit, because what's probably gonna happen here? Can you imagine?
Nah, yeah, I'm about to get focused and stagger myself probably.
Yeah, this is not looking particularly great. Soldiers right onto you. You get the Widow kill, right? Probably. You don't even get the Widow kill. They beat for it too. Maybe you get out of this. This is a crazy Susu bar there. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Yeah, right. Like, you're probably gonna die here. You are going to die here, right? But of course, how do you like I think this kind of looks like sunk cost fallacy to me. But like, again, how do you just like sit high ground here? Play to like, oh my days. So you just got a free picking, right? Lucio, Zen, any picking you really want. Like, that's a free kill right there. A missed opportunity then because you're a little bit tunneled on killing a Widowmaker.
Nah, yeah, it was.
Which, by the way, she's not even dangerous here. This isn't a good sightline for Widowmaker to play, right? These kind of sightlines, like back here, back here, back here, those are great Widowmaker sightlines, right? So I think, again, put in part, there's every single reason in this game is telling you to control this high ground and not flank like that. And not, so you're not continue to like flank hard deep into the Widowmaker. I think if they were playing Sigma, or they're applying a less mobile comp or a less comp that can punish you, I think going here would be fine because again they can't really punish you for doing this. But against that Malgalusa comp, I would not do this at all. And you can see why. But yeah. Okay, we'll see next fights. We're gonna get Kapovitz. Yeah, we'll see here.
But he's that forced beat though. You feel me?
Yeah. I used to full speak for it. You do have beat advantage here. Okay. Sure. Fine. Nice look. Nice. Sure. Nothing crazy there. I'm not gonna touch that. Nice. Okay. We'll do a quick summary here, and then we'll answer any questions that you may have as well towards the ends. Okay, we'll use this wool here. Okay. Alright. I think the first thing that I want to see more of is out-rotating, or out-rotating in mid-fights a lot more. Instead of your Malga focus. I think a lot of the time, your team just kind of get free kills. Like on second, like when you're pushing the high ground, like when you're pushing their high grounds, your team just gets a free kill or a free pick, and it becomes very easy for your team to, or for you and your team to just push forward here. I think a lot of the time, I see you sort of push forward on Malga, forwards on Malga, which is fine to do if you have an advantage, right? But I think I want to see you more like flank heavy, where it's hard for him to clear you, and again that whole risk baiting idea placed into that factor as well. I'll also mention aggressive but safe angles. Aggro but safe. So a good example would have been like when Malga was pushing carts. Malga on carts, and you could have pushed the Cass or Soldier. Would have been quite nice to see. So that's kind of the first thing that I want to, I guess, hamper on or focus on is that. Second thing I'll say is your pick pin micro. Because some of the time you place it down really early.
Yeah.
Gets no value. You don't hook for it at all. So again, that's that third fight there, I think, when you were again playing straight into Malga. If you place your pigpen down against that Malga, I expect you to hook him, or I would expect him to rush onto you, and you're expecting some kind of rush to anticipate. In which case, of course, you can hide it into the corner a little bit more. But generally, I wouldn't be expecting you to pigpen that unless you wanted to hook Malga. But as you kind of talked about, you're not really wanting to hook him because he's got armor and he can kind of punish you really close up. So I'd rather you again keep it, then use it while you flank and take an angle. And again, this relates back into that very first point about what angles are we taking in the mid-fight? What angles are we taking that are aggressive but safe? How can we push this advantage here, maybe, right? That's kind of the key thing that I'd say there about Pigpen, which will play into your general mindset on playing Hog. And last thing I'll say is, I'll say like your mindset in the pre-fights. So again, you can play distance to bait Malga Cage. Kind of like literally kind of what we saw, like when the very first cage in the Malga, because it was so late into the game, his very first cage was bad. Because you could have baited him, right? Like you just force point, you play on the opposite side as your team, it becomes very hard for the Malga to come straight at you. So again, that's something that you can absolutely do when playing into Malga Cage. You can also, again, flank heavy super early. around Malga. And also, if your team do have a free pick, if you do have a free pick or some kind of advantage, you can push that for more kills. For more kills. So again, I think I mentioned sometimes in the pre-fights, you can actually go a little bit deeper. Like, for example, right over here. Right over here, right? Like, you can push this angle here. I think you got a cast kill, like, over here. And then again, you could have just placed down your pick pen, push that 5v4, get a free kill, bait the Margaret to come onto you, and then, again, push your advantage and actually win that fight out there entirely. Which would have been quite nice. But those are kind of the big three things, I'd say, this entire VOD. Any key questions or things you want to ask?
So that's just like, you think so the manga playing that play style, or you should play like that, or like going as any tank, like Orisa as well?
You know, it's a good question, yeah. I think Orisa, I mean, honestly, you'll be banning Orisa most of the time. But honestly, it's a similar kind of thing. It's against comps that win the quote-unquote front to back super heavily. So Margot's one of those cases, Orisa's one of those cases, because those characters can really stop you from flanking early on by just matching you all the time. I'm just, again, drawing you really close upwards. So again, it's not just Malga comps. I'm trying to think of other comps that aren't Malga and Orisa.
Mantra.
Yeah. Ramatra in some cases too, because hooking Ramatra is not ideal. Again, because he's got so much armor, and you do nothing into armor. So again, that would be one of the cases as well. It comes that front to back you. Again, they want to run you over basically.
What about a good ball and like tracer dives? That's what I'm going against. And I know I play his counter, but
yeah, it's a good question, right? So I had this framework against dive comps called SPAR, which stands for Scouts, Prevent, Absorb, and Rotates. So who you hook is going to depend on a few things, and I'll explain this framework first, and I'll describe who you might want to think about hooking. Scout is not fully on you, to be honest, but it's just scouting where certain characters are, getting vision of them early on in the fight. Nothing crazy. So this is kind of the 3-step framework that I look at, and I guess I normally draw a graph here to sort of visualize it too. So we can draw time and power. And a ball tracer comp looks like this, basically. Like this big ass peak over here, and then they peak again, right? Something like that. Your comp, or you and the character, generally looks like this, a flat line. And this part of the graph is prevents. This part of the graph is absorbing their dive. And then this part of the graph is rotating / preventing again. And the reason why I bring this up is because it can sort of visualize nicely about where you are into the fights. Now the micro about who you hook and why. Generally, let's say you're playing with the ball, tracer, Ana. If you're able to hook Ana, that's probably the target I'd say is the key target to hook. Mostly because of her nade. Her nade is really scary for your team, and honestly, Hog is probably one of the worst characters you can play into that comp, because you can't block nade. You're not Sig, you're not Ryan, you're not Ramatra, you're not even Orisa to eat nade. You're not even Zara to bubble it off to. It's really hard for you to sort of block nade and eat it. So the big thing is threatening Ana and making sure she can't peek during the dive itself, right? Because obviously, when ball slams in, she's gonna throw a nade, right? Most likely. So trying to again threaten the Ana or again hook her before she can even nade is ideal. If the Ana, for some reason, let's say, has no LOS or has no sightline to their dive at all, then hooking Tracer becomes the priority. Or forcing Blinks and forcing Tracer recall, and then if Tracer recalls out and you don't even have to use hook, then the ball becomes the next priority. So yeah, that's generally how I say it too. Back in, I'm not sure, you probably don't remember this, but back in summer 2023, there was a Winston Sombra Tracer comp that was played a lot, and generally the target priority was Sombra first, then Tracer, then Winston. But yeah, normally it's flankers first, and then you go for the tank afterwards. But yeah, maybe their DPS just are, or maybe their DPS aren't in the dive. Maybe their DPS get cleared really easily, and you haven't got to use hook. Maybe their backline, maybe their Ana is playing in Narnia, and you can't look for the hook. In which case, of course, hook in the tank will be fine, right? I'll say here as well, they're playing Kiriko, like a Bull Tracer Kiri thing. Right, same kind of thing applies. If you can hit Kiriko, more than reasonable. But a lot of the time, Kiriko will be playing in a good position that's hard for you to reach. But of course, if you're able to hit Kiriko, then yeah, absolutely fine. So in this case, it would be Traitor first, then Kiriko, then Bull. But yeah, I hope that should clear things up. Any other questions?
Not really. I so the one that I purchased with you was 4 sessions, right?
Yeah. So you can just DM me, or set it up a Midfight, other one's fine. You can just DM me about when you want the next session to be, and that should be hopefully all good as well. Normally what I say is like at least a week between sessions, at least a week. If not, most people do it once every 2 weeks is a normal rhythm. But yeah, you can of course just go play it by ear. Maybe again you're rolling your games and you don't need to have a session. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're struggling into Bull Tracer comps, and then a session there would be reasonable, right? But yeah, just play it by ear. And of course you can just DM me about when you want to schedule the next one. But yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm probably schedule one soon because I was like I want to also go over like DPS game I do play
Oh
and
yeah, your
see
DPS too. Yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah.
Makes sense too. But yeah, okay. I'll end the session there. If you think of anything else to ask me, then of course you can DM me at any time. And of course I've recorded the session too, so you can rewatch it back at your spare pace.